Hello, you're here because you want to know how to make a banging and lovely Tuscan village in Minecraft, or just a Tuscan house in general. Well, as you can see around me in this lovely survival world, I know a bit or two, and yeah, you're going to be able to see how to do this, just like me. Something I would recommend, especially when building in survival, is to sort your materials out beforehand. And when building a Tuscan-inspired village or settlement, there are certainly a few blocks I would advise for you to go with, because they are just very complementary to the colours, especially if you're going for a vibrant style like I've done over here. As well as what woods you should go with, and yeah. So let's have a look at these shulkers. This is where I keep my building materials for this site right now. You can see where I've got some plans laid out for new houses, and yeah, let's go have a look at what I tend to use. So it's not perfectly arranged here, but you've got some terracotta of any kind, really. I'm using some yellow terracotta here, some green terracotta there. Some normal terracotta here goes really well with granite and bricks, as well as some other stuff, I think. I thought I was gonna, yeah, some white terracotta over here gives it a nice feel. It's actually quite fitting since terracotta it's just Italian for hot clay or hot earth, something like that. And apart from that, for the colours, I'd also recommend some concrete powder, so some yellow, green, white, especially white. The combination of white concrete powder, diorite, and whatever this book is called, calcite, goes really well together. Yeah. Then for your wood, oh no, it's getting dark. For your wood, I'd mainly stick to spruce and jungle, but then you can throw in bits of acacia, maybe some oak. I've not done that yet myself. Definitely some bamboo for furniture. And yeah, I'm just gonna go and sleep real quickly. Right, so I am back from my slumber. It is once again bright outside. So I was previously talking about the wood types, and well, for spruce, I personally use it for little details and accents. As you can see here on the windows, I prefer to use spruce gates and trapdoors, along with white stained glass panes, since the color combination is there's just something about it. And then to go with the windows, I usually tend to use. There are three things that I tend to change between: an upside down spruce staircase, as you can see here, some leaves surrounded by signs. That gives off a good sort of almost as if you're growing things for consumption. You can sort of see that in some medieval depictions of Italy. Then you've got the general just flower pot. There's that style with a grass block in it, but then you've also got just actual flower pots. And when choosing which flower goes into the flower pot, you should keep in mind what area you're in, because personally, I wouldn't really put a blue flower such as the blue orchid or a cornflower in here, since it would just be consumed by the blue of this house right here. So instead, I went for a white tulip, so which highlights the difference between these two buildings as well as the ground. But apart from that, I've talked about the walls, the wood, and the windows now. And I guess I can talk about the final little details now. By that I mean these sort of gutters or support pillars I just use with fences of different wood types. In my opinion, it looks a bit better if they are of a different wood type than what you're using for the roof. But yeah, adds a bit of practicality. It looks more realistic that way, I suppose. And one final thing, you've got the foundation. I have two different types of foundation. You've got the grey one with some bricks, stone, and cobblestone, and then the black one with some cobbled deep slate bricks and deep slate tiles. Somewhere here. Yeah, right here. So all of those work quite well. Adds a bit of texture, of course. You don't want anything to seem too flat. Which is the main thing about this style that might initially be a bit hard, because you have to make the pattern a bit random to add the texture. Since these houses wouldn't be put too uniformly. Uh, yeah, you can just show that through some bricks over here, some terracotta over here, granite over here, and finally lichen. Lichen works really well to add a bit of a colour, this sort of greyish blue, sort of contrast, sort of blends it in, but it's just in general really nice. Other features, so let me just see. For even more features apart from just the gutters over here, I prefer to, especially if the building is two types of blocks, I prefer to have this little separator between them. It really just keeps it separate a lot. I remember I had this building initially without this separator. It just looks really fat, and the separator, as I call it, just helps you separate, as the name implies, of two different colours, adds a bit of depth, of course, something you really need in a build. So what you're seeing behind me right now is a house that I'm currently working on. And as you can see, it fits my usual Tuscan style. However, it's not yet finished, so I would like to show you where I'm at right now with it, and what your work should be looking like as you go with it, since if something goes really bad in the beginning, you should notice that and immediately act upon it, to make sure it just doesn't ruin it for the long term. So, right, entrance. It's a bit off, off, facing a bit away from the street. That is because it would just look a bit odd looking out over the street from like 2 or 3 blocks up. So I decided to curve this path around, and get it to a point where it can actually be on the same level as the door. I'm not going to do the interior because, frankly, there is none. I don't really do interiors that much, as you can see here. Most I have some flooring and maybe a torch to prevent mobs from spawning. But on the outside, you can see the gradient, as I spoke before, of the terracotta, normal terracotta, some bricks, and some granite. I don't particularly use polished granite. I don't really like the squared texture. It defeats the sort of natural vibe, and organic vibe you get from building in a Tuscan style. But then, while I'm building, I also think of about where the windows go. So yeah, I always, in fact, have my windows never be on the bottom block, as you can see here. I will never put a window here, even if it's 2 blocks tall. I just raise it by one, since it just feels wrong to look into a house and to see the floor. So no floor to ceiling rooms here, floor to ceiling windows here. Sorry for the stutter. But apart from that, as you can see, I've chosen to do a roof in jungle wood. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that you should definitely choose to alternate and not really have clumps of the same wood type as roofs. As you can see here, there's some spruce between jungle, some jungle between spruce. Try and not go for too much monotony when it comes to your roofs, since if you're flying in, the main thing you'll see is the roofs. If you look on the map, the only thing you'll see is roofs and maybe some paths. But as you can see, this build is not yet finished. I don't do this middle section of the roof until I actually get the actual roof structure down, since I find that quite difficult to do. There's overhangs everywhere. Whenever you can get a fitting overhang, just add it. Above the door, above the window. That's what I always do with windows, as you can see around me. Some plants, of course. You should always have plants and vegetation here. Make it as green as possible. Right, so I am back. It is once more bright, and yeah, I think you should definitely also focus on dispersing colour. I don't really want to have two buildings of the same palette together. So as you can see here, you've got some yellow, blue, orange, green, yeah, white, and this earthy colour all together. Then I'm just building this, and the last time I built using this palette was over here, so a pretty long while ago. And I've not built with this palette since. So yeah, you should definitely strive for diversity when it comes to your palettes. In general, you can just have a look through here what I've done, what you can maybe grab for yourself. Barrels outside, a tall grass, some chairs. Don't mind that. That's not meant to be there. Leaves everywhere, literally on roofs. Adds a bit of greenery. Plants in flower pots. Rose bushes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, rose bushes go really well, almost like tomatoes. I have to say. Lanterns, of course, lanterns over torches any day of the week. Signs randomly, out nose, just looks fine. Oh, scaffolding as tables. What a genius thing. I was the first person to think that was really clever. And yeah, that should be it. So, I hope you've learnt something about building Tuscan houses. Um, Yeah, it's certainly a very distinct style. You can certainly build a massive, sprawling city on a coastline with this style, and you could honestly have many people living here on an SMP of sorts, even. You could all add a little flavour of your own. You could make houses bigger, smaller. I usually stick to the smaller size. With the 3x3 over there, that's ridiculously small in my opinion, but it works really well. Anyway, see you.